In this video, we're going to look at how you would use your calculator to find the measure of an angle when you've been given either the sine, cos, or tan of that angle. And we're going to do this with three different rounding methods, where we're going to round it to the nearest degree, to two decimal places, or to the nearest minute. So we'll start off with the first one here. We've got the sine of theta is equal to 2/3. Now the function we're going to use for this is known as sine inverse. So if we're writing this out, the next line down on our calculation is going to show that theta is equal to sine inverse of 2/3. Now this just looks like we've written sine to the power of -1, but we're not going to use the power of button and put in -1. There's a button on our calculator for sine inverse for this. So the sine inverse function is directly above the sine button, which you can see is highlighted over here on the right. It's in yellow. In order to use any of the yellow functions in the calculator, we're going to have to press the shift key. So for this particular one, in order to get a value for theta, we're going to first of all press the shift key, then we're going to press the sine key, and our calculator will then show sine inverse and bracket. Then we're going to press the fraction button, and I'm going to press 2 to put 2 on top of the fraction. We're going to press the down arrow to get to the bottom of the fraction, and we're going to press 3, and then we're going to press the right arrow so that we get out from the bottom of the fraction, and we can press bracket to close off our sum, and then we can press equals. And what our calculator will give us when we do that is 41.8103149, and we're looking for it to the nearest degree. Well, when we round that to the nearest degree, that's going to be approximately equal to 42 degrees, because we're rounding up to the nearest whole number, and 8 right here, the first decimal place, is either 5 or larger, so we round up to 42 degrees. Alright, so let's take a look at the next one. In the next one, we're told that 4 tan A is equal to 3. Well, before we try figuring out the value for A using the inverse tan function, we've got to figure out what the tan of A is by itself. So we're going to move that multiply by 4 across, and we're going to get tan of A is equal to 3/4. And that means that inverse tan of 3/4 is equal to A. So, same as the last step, shift key, tan key, our calculator screen will show tan inverse bracket. Then we're going to press fraction button, 3, down arrow, 4, right arrow, bracket. And our sum on our screen should look just like what I've written here, tan inverse of 3/4 in brackets. When we press equals on that, the value we should get for this is going to be 36.86989765. And if we round that off to two decimal places, as I've been requested to do for this particular one, that would be 36.87 degrees, like that. So that's correct to two decimal places. Now for the last one, we're asked to do this correct to the nearest minute. So it's the same process to start with. We're going to say that D is equal to cos inverse of 0.762. So we're going to put that into our calculator. We're going to press shift key, cos key. That's going to give us cos inverse bracket. Then we're going to press 0.762, close bracket, equals. And that will tell us that D is equal to 40.35916788. But we're not quite done with that, because we aren't asked for decimal places in this or nearest degree. We need nearest minute. So the next thing we're going to do after this is we're going to convert that from decimals to degrees, minutes, seconds. And we're going to do that by pressing the degrees, minutes, second button, which is this button just over here. Now your calculator might have a DMS button, and you will use that instead, but that's the button we're going to push to get that. When we do that, Our calculator will tell us that this is equal to 40 degrees, 21 minutes, and 33 seconds. And we need this to the nearest minute, so we've got to round. So the 40 degree isn't going to change, but the minutes is going to change. Now the number of seconds in a minute is 60, which means we're not looking to round when we get to 5. We're looking around when we get to halfway from 0 up to 60, which is 30. Which means in this case we've already passed the halfway mark, so we're going to round up from 21 minutes and 33 seconds to 22 minutes. And that's how we get the measure of the angle D in that question. So that's how you use your calculator to get the measure of an angle when you've been given the sine, cos, or tan.